Alright, Broncos country, I know we've mostly flushed this game out of our system and we've moved on to our next game, but we need to talk about the win against the Philadelphia Eagles. I've seen a lot of crap on Twitter from Broncos country within the last 30 minutes. The Philadelphia Eagles are about to lose to the New York Giants. Late in the fourth quarter, they're down by 17 points. Not great, Bob. But now I've got people here in Denver saying that, oh, this Broncos win against the Eagles wasn't nearly as big as we originally thought. The Eagles aren't very good. Yes, the Philadelphia Eagles have their problems. We'll discuss that in this video. But what the Denver Broncos were able to do on Sunday still cannot be overlooked. They went into Philadelphia, Lincoln Financial Field, one of the toughest and most hostile environments in the NFL, overcame self-inflicted wounds, overcame a 2-score deficit to win this game. And they made multiple plays on their own to put themselves in position to win this game. They got a bit of help from the Eagles, but even if they hadn't gotten that help, they still would have come away with the win. There's a penalty late in that game that the Eagles committed. It was on a 4th down and 4 where they called an illegal shift on a back shoulder connection to Devontae Smith, who was on Riley Moss. That play ended up coming back. But what neutralized it was in the first half, you had a play where Marvin Mims was clearly getting grabbed by the face mask, in fact. They threw the flag and then picked it up. That flag cost the Broncos at least 3 points before the end of the first half. So I'd say those two offset each other, basically. The Denver Broncos, from Bo Nix's 3rd down and 15 throw, to Evan Ingram's touchdown, to J.K. Dobbins' touchdown, they made multiple plays to win this game, knocking down that Hail Mary on the final pass. Overcoming that multi-score deficit, the Denver Broncos did that. They did that against a Vic Fangio defense. I understand Fangio's defense had some issues tonight against another young quarterback, but historically, Vic Fangio makes young quarterbacks look really bad. And he wasn't able to do that against Bo Nix. Bo Nix was calm, cool, and collected, and he was able to keep his composure in that fourth quarter and make enough plays for the Denver Broncos to win that game. So I don't think we should be sitting here discounting that win from the Denver Broncos. But the Philadelphia Eagles, without a doubt, have problems. We talked about their defense struggling tonight. Some of that's personnel issues. Jalen Carter, their best player on that side of the ball, did not play tonight. Additionally, they've been rotating players in the secondary. Adoree Jackson, Keely Ringo, Quinyon Mitchell, their best corner, he went out with an injury as well. Philly kept it competitive, but injuries on defense and inconsistent play from Jalen Hurts is what really let him down in this one. Jalen Hurts had some overthrows, missed a few other plays, left some meat on the bone tonight. I will definitely say that. The Eagles did not play their best football, but they're still a really good football team. The fact of the matter is, what we should be talking about is the New York Football Giants. They are a much better football team than we initially thought, especially after they made the change from Russell Wilson to Jackson Dart. Dart has given that team a spark. Last week they did lose in New Orleans, but it was on the back of a couple of really screwy turnovers, including a fumble by Cam Scadaboo that really shook up that game. The New York Giants were actually rolling pretty well in the first half of that game. Then the week before that, they beat the Chargers in Jackson Dart's first career start before LA was completely beat to crap with injuries. Now, the Chargers are so battered and bruised that we don't view them anymore as one of the top tier teams in the league, but at that time we did. This New York Giants team is playing tough, scrappy football on offense. They're running the ball well with Cam Scadaboo after they lost Tyrone Tracy to an injury. Scadaboo's been great. Jackson Dart's been great. They've mostly been able to overcome the injury to Malik Neighbors. This Giants offense is really well coached. Brian Daboll, I know he gets a lot of crap, but I've always believed that Daboll's been a good coach. He just hasn't had a good situation on offense. some of that was self-induced, setting the team back by extending Daniel Jones. I don't think Jones would have been the same player if he stayed in New York. He needed to go to Minnesota, and then he needed to go to Indianapolis before he could really be a good quarterback. He needed that journey, and he needed to get away from the New York media. But I've always believed in Brian Daboll as being a good coach. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they've got some issues there, but their pass rush is definitely not one of them. Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter. You've got, who else do you got over there? You got Brian Burns, who actually, I believe, is now tied with Nick Bonito for the sack lead this year. This Giants defense is really tough, and I will say the New York Giants are going to be a really tough matchup for the Denver Broncos coming into Denver after this Jets game. So the Broncos, after that London trip, are going to be facing a really tough team. I would say this Giants game coming up is a lot more of a trap game potentially than the Jets game next week or this coming week. This Giants game, I'm actually a little bit worried about this one because of how well they're playing. That's the big storyline here. And the Philadelphia Eagles are still a really good football team, and it was still a massive, 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 and did I say massive win for the Denver Broncos, especially winning in that environment at Lincoln Financial Field. So, no, the way that the Eagles are playing does not take away from how big this Denver Broncos win was. Don't let anybody on Twitter try to convince you otherwise. All right, Broncos country, let me know in the comments section below. Do you think that this Denver Broncos win against the Philadelphia Eagles was nowhere near as big as we originally thought now that we've seen the Eagles lose to the New York Giants? Or do you think that this win was still a really big deal for the Broncos? Drop those comments down below, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts as always. Be sure to leave a like on this video as well, subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support. It helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. Additionally, if you guys want to go above and beyond in supporting the channel, please consider becoming a channel member today. I would really appreciate it. Not mandatory whatsoever, but if you want some extra perks and incentives in exchange for helping me out and helping the channel grow, I would really appreciate it if you would consider it. Link in the description below. And until next time, guys, I'm your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.